Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. Matey, looking at Kris Krohn in his pirate-looking garb. Anyways, tonight, free webinar, 7 p.m. Looking forward to anybody out there that's interested in, wanting to know how to make money in real estate. Especially people, 25 to 50 years old. You get a plan going. It's not too late. You can still, make several $1,000,000, and you can make tens of millions if you're young enough. You probably make hundreds of millions. So I wanted you guys to help me figure out how to do what you would consider a proper success challenge. And so I've got my iPad ready here somewhere. Let me get this going. And maybe you guys can help me, the questions, I tell people, I'm open book. Any question you want, I'll answer. But most any question. But I do like talking about details on how I made my money in specific properties, the profits specifically on the different properties that I've made. I like to show people how I did it, over a period of, decades. And some I've made millions of dollars on a single property. I've, other hundreds of thousands. Many in the beginning, $5,000 and $10,000 at a time. And so hang on, and we're going to get into it. Thank you.
And listen, time is on a mission to eliminate all of the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything USA. Go.
All right. So, hey, if you just got here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you've got an interest in real estate, then you found the right place. So we can talk about just about anything you want. If you got any questions, hey, Liam, good to see you in here, buddy. Actually, very curious, Liam, to see how your current project is going. Liam's in the class here. He's made about $1 million now since he's been in a few short years. And he's a carpenter like I am. And so we often share projects. There's actually, I've got quite a few members now. And and that's what I wanted to do is I want to kind of quantify success, right? When I say quantify, I mean, these are the things that I think that, and I'm happy to be compared to anybody. Kris Krohn, Pace Morby, Grant Cardone. I don't think anybody even comes close. Jerry Norton, anybody out there. I'll face off with any of these guys that have a lot of prominence in the market, and the reason is I hear a lot of complaints about them, to be quite honest. But particularly Kris Krohn is somebody that I see that I just don't see much value there. And I've seen a bunch of complaints, and I'm talking about stuff from individuals that have emailed me, talked to me live in the webinar, and even I've seen some stuff. Look, I know he's been involved with a couple lawsuits. Being in a lawsuit doesn't make you guilty, but they're always the two lawsuits that I've seen are kind of regarding fraudulent activity and that sort of thing. Doesn't mean he's guilty, of course not. But again, I don't know why he has the allegations that he has, and he's got a Bitcoin thing going right now. I heard, don't know that that's 100% true, but I saw something on it. But like a trend chaser, like he's chasing trends. And where I'm a real estate investor through and through. That's what I've been doing for 43 years. I've been buying real estate every year for that many years, and hundreds of transactions. At least 200 and probably 20, something like that. And I'm not counting the sale. I'm saying purchases. So I mean, if some people see with the fake gurus, they'll extrapolate the numbers and exaggerate how they do, and I have no interest in that. So Andrew wrote, I don't watch or listen to anyone else but Tom. Thanks, I appreciate that. No, listen, I like Ben Mala. Ben Mala is the real deal. Thanks, son. Listen, you can listen to anybody. There's other people that are legitimate out there, it would seem that the ones that, to me, that have the least to offer or have the most prominence, and it's unfortunate. And I think what the reason is it's making things sound easier than they are, but also they're, and I think this is true of Kris. And Kris, anytime, if you want to have a conversation, in fact, Stefan, I'm going to screw his name up again, sorry. Stefan Cornelia, is it? No, I know I got it wrong. Somebody help me. Mr. Cornelia. I really like, he's a nice guy, good guy, but he's like, one of these guys that, opens things up about fake gurus and of all sorts. I would be happy to be scrutinized by him, or we could debate, Kris, and I know Mr. Cornelia would be happy to officiate. But I'll take any, Pace Morby, same thing, same offer, but I think people want to know, and you guys tell me what you're wrong. What do you think, what do you think's important? What do you think's important? And I'm going to pull up my iPad here and we'll make a list. So I'd appreciate getting your thoughts. And these are things that you can, certainly are the questions that you should ask me in the webinar tonight. I have a webinar tonight, 7 p.m. Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. You'll get the link sent to you. Some of you have been in there many times. You warm up to it. It takes a while. Some of you are saving so you can afford to get in the class and be in the mentorship. And you should. And I won't let anybody in. If you don't have money, I don't let you in. And it's not that I don't want you to go into something broke. It takes money to make money. It just does. It's just the sad fact is it does. Now, I started with nothing. It doesn't mean you can't too. But I tell you need to have some general skills of making money before you start. And that's what I kind of tell everybody. But so look, I'm going to share the iPad here, and maybe you guys can help me add to this list, or we'll start a list. Where is that iPad? Here we go. All right, that didn't work. So great. My son's not here to help me out on this either. Okay, iPad. But let's talk about what's important. Here we go. I'm going to have it for you in a second, everyone. And we can talk about, here we go. There we go, right there. There's the iPad. Kind of took Kris out. But let's make that a little smaller. I'll put this right here. Okay, and we're going to call this, and listen, anybody here watching it, and Liam, you would be good at this. Anybody should be. Andrew, let's talk about student success, right? What's more important than student success? Student success. So let's talk about what would be, I'm a numbers guy, and you should be. If you're in real estate, you should be, or you want to be, but this is just common sense stuff. How about average profit per student? The average, like in other words, an average, we'll just say that, average profit per student. I think that's a good one. Any seconds on that? Please, let's add to this. If you just got here, we're talking about, I'm challenging Kris Krohn, a success challenge. I think I have the most successful students of any mentor on the, I don't even know if he considers himself a mentor, but of any mentor out there, and I compare me to anyone. Well, Manny Koshman, we'll throw him in there too. And I like Manny. I don't know him, but I like him well enough. He a lot of flash with the cars. Not sure if I agree with that approach, but it's okay. He has a lot of money. He's got cars, and so I understand. He likes to use the cars, but I like to use the real estate. And you'll never see anybody that points to more individual deals that they've done than I have. So, hey, Grant. So, Grant, we're looking to make a list here of questions that you should ask and a comparison. I'm challenging Kris Krohn to, we'll compare average profit per student. We can talk about, what else? And this is going to extend to Pace, Morby, and everybody else. But we'll start with Kris here. So help me with this, guys. Help me else. What wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you would like to know what's the average? Is the average student? I think my average student is probably $50,000, something like that. That doesn't mean everybody made 50. It means some made $1 million, some haven't made anything yet. But those kind of numbers, right? Pace Morby is one that I see very, very low. What I see is very low success rate, and if you notice, if you go to a Kris Krohn video, you don't usually see. I don't see any real estate that matters. In other words, I don't see any. Let's just go right now. I'm gonna look some up right now. And so, by the way, tonight, 7 p.m. Central. In fact, here we go. Let me pull this off, and. Let's see what we can see here. Okay, so look, here's Kris Krohn. I'll take the iPad down here a second. I'll get my head out of the way here. So wholesaling, he's talking about the middle class is done for. I think I just did a video on that one the other day. What I don't see is, here's a piece of property my student bought and they made X. I don't see it. In fact, I'll go ahead and extend this over to Pace Morby. Let's go to Pace Morby. I think they call that sub 2, right? When you go to the sub 2 success stories, this is, to me, it's anything but success. It's not success. I mean, there's not, as of the date that I watched this last, and maybe it's been updated, most of the people, meaning 80-90% of these people, haven't made anything. They're hopeful. In fact, some of these are like 40-second spots where they say, yeah, man, I can't wait. I'm going to make some money. I hope, I think. I think this gal said she got in an Airbnb with 3 other people, and like I say, I haven't seen anything that, Pace Morby has some things that says, why aren't you in sub 2? Well, why should they be? It doesn't seem to be because there's profit or money. So I really don't get it. But these are the kinds of things that when you find fake gurus, and I consider these guys kind of fake, or that's how I perceive them as, here's Michael says he didn't really learn anything from Pace. Yeah, well, you learned something, but just wasn't about how to make money. But again, so Mike, you're good. This is perfect. Michael actually he got into the Gator method, and he regrets it. We did a nice video, and I appreciate him sharing. A lot of people have been very grateful to Michael for sharing, actually. And some people are happy that I talk about Kris Krohn and others because that's how they find me, by the way. So I think that's kind of interesting too. But so back, like I say, with Kris Krohn, I just don't see any testimonials. I don't see, it's just he goes through, and I mean, I could click on anything here, and it would be basically him talking about, news clippings of, just generalities that have nothing to do with making money. But he's going for lead generation. In other words, he's trying to get people to go to the links below, and he'll share some information. And then I've seen people that have done this. Somebody put me on one of his mailing lists, And I got in a barrage, email after email after email. Sometimes he gets off of real estate, other times, but it seems the key focus, and Kris, tell me if I'm wrong, please comment below, is he's very interested in, oh my God, look at this. We got Pace Morby. So this is funny. Maybe we'll have to watch a little bit of this. Pace Morby and Kris Krohn together. And these are two guys that I don't see, in my opinion, don't have much to offer. And they don't really show, like I say, look at here. I invite everybody. Go to sub 2. This is what Pace Morby's thing is. Watch what he calls success stories. Watch these. And just see what you think. They're not, if you measure success with money, these aren't success stories. That I can tell you. But if you measure it some other way, making friends, whatever, being enthusiastic, I don't know. That's not my idea of success. But so that's funny. So here we got, and this is one of the things, this is common, by the way. This is what fake gurus, and I won't even point to these guys in particular, but let's open this up.
It's always a good time. You should always buy real estate.
Fake gurus stick together, and I'll tell you why. If they don't have successful students to reflect on and to show and to produce and promote, then what do they have? They have each other, right? So this is what I call two fake gurus backslapping. They're slapping each other on the back. Basically, hey, yeah, you're great. Oh, you're great too. Oh, hey, in other words, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if two guys that are, that are salesmen, what are they, you know what I mean? It's not relevant to your success. What's relevant to your success, of course, is investing. And by the way, so good stuff here. I just bought another property here about a week or two ago that I bought for about $300 or 310 or 320. Yeah, 320, I think. And it would appear that at least according to Redfin, it's worth, I think, $443. It's worth about $123,000 more. That's just one point of reference. That's not an absolute. Zillow is right in line with that too. But again, I can tell you from my own personal experience, there's $100,000 there. That I am sure of. And so these are the kinds of things that people should be interested in, want to do. And so, yeah, if you, let's watch this. You guys want to watch this? Let's see. We'll watch a little bit of this. And usually Kris Krohn used to have like a big self-aggrandizing. They call it the Superman, you look at me, you want to be like me. So, but let's watch this.
Wholesaling, flipping, in 2024, is it a time to jump back in? Is it a time to jump out? Should I keep playing the game? And I've got resident expert Pace Morby right here with me with all the answers. Pace, how are we doing?
Kris Krohn, what up, brother? How you doing?
Now, I don't know why he would ever be called an expert. I really don't. I haven't seen anything to support that. He's the guy that's known for saying, equity comes, equity goes, but the cash flow is slow. Silly statement. I've heard him tell story about the bunny stories, two different YouTube venues, podcasts, two different stories, $100,000 difference. Doesn't make any sense. So again, but this is what I'm talking about. Here's two guys self-aggrandizing and patting each other on the back, but let's see if they have any student success to reflect on or to show.
I'm so excited about 2024. Going all the way into it, I think that there's going to be this amazing flush of wholesale deals, more than we've ever seen before. And I think that this is the best time to get into real estate, whether you're going to fix and flip, you're going to wholesale, or you're going to buy and hold.
I've hung around you enough to kind of know that you're always glass half full. So it's always a good time. You should always buy real estate.
By the way, everybody's always glass full. There's everybody's very optimistic when they're selling you something. Okay, you'll find I'm a little bit different. I will give you my honest opinion whether I think you should do it or not. Some of you should, and some of you shouldn't. You're not ready yet. You gotta, you need to get a knowledge base. I have a thing I say to all my students: easy to do, hard to undo. You make a mistake, you step in a pile, you step in quicksand, so to speak. It's hard to get out. Hard to get out.
And I'm like, come on, dude, is that even realistic? Like, there's got to be good times and bad times for flipping and wholesaling.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my buddy Nick Marietta that was out there in the luxury game, and after those interest rates went up and that market price really struggled, dude, he had to fire sell a lot of his inventory, and he went from having millions of dollars.
Yeah, so people that make mistakes, people that don't have experience do make big mistakes. You know, some good people do too. Ben Mallah should have refied a bunch of his portfolio. He didn't do it. And, you know, it cost him $6 million a year from what I understand, you know, in paying a higher interest rate. Yeah, Liam says these guys are experts in the field of collecting membership dues, or sign-up fees, right? So like I say, I think what I've heard is Pace has taken in about $40 million. You know, I don't know if that's 8,000 students at $8,000 to $12,000, and I don't know the exact accuracy of that. I've heard different numbers, but big money, big money. I can tell you that I've only taken in a small fraction of the money that what I charged for helping people is a tiny fraction of the amount of money that my students have made. I would guess that Pace has taken more money in student fees than he has made in real estate personally himself, and probably far more than what his students have made. And to me, that's not good. And again, I don't know that for a fact, but again, I'm putting the challenge out there to Pace and Kris. We can have, somebody help me with Cornelius. I keep wanting to call him Stefano, but God, what is it? Anyways, sorry, Mr. Cornelia, Stephen Cornelia. I want to say Stephen, but I know it's wrong. To officiate this sort of thing, because listen, that's what you want. Do you want to see? This is, to me, is like wrestling. Fake wrestling. In other words, it's predetermined. Where a real match, a jiu-jitsu match, a real fight, people are going to do the best they can to prove that they are right and they're smarter, and that's what I would like to do with these guys. I'm happy, I'm game for that, but not this back slapping stuff, telling each other how great you are. Anyways, so Spencer, thank you, Spencer Cornelia. Jeez, sorry, Spencer, sorry. I struggle with your name. It's because I have a good friend of mine with a similar name. Anyways, we'll keep watching this for a little bit.
Of equity, and he saw that shrink really rapidly. Like, that dude's going to tell you that there's a good time for being in that strategy and a bad time. What do you say to that?
I actually agree. This is why I don't get into luxury stuff. I see other people get into luxury and I go, first and foremost, that's not for newbies. Secondly, it is the market that gets hit first. It's the market that comes back last. So
yeah, obviously, don't spend money you don't have, luxury items, whatever. And look, it's actually a good time to get luxury items that are heavily discounted. I can tell you, in 2009, I bought a new, not new, but almost new, Mercedes. What do they call it? Whatever. The nice sedan with the top goes in the back of the trunk. Beautiful car, and I got it for it was $105,000 new. I think I got it for $33,000. It had almost no miles on it, and I sold it several years later for more than I paid for it. So these are the things that you can do. But let's listen.
Why would I do that unless I'm an expert? Now, Nick is an expert. He's a gangster.
Yes.
I love what he does. He's amazing. And he can ride that wave going downward. But I'll make a different argument. In 2023, there were other wholesalers not doing luxury market. There are other wholesalers that go.
Wholesaling. Listen, yeah, I guess so. They're taking wholesaling to outside of the real estate realm, and that's fine. Look, listen, wholesaling is something to fall back on. I did the first wholesale. I just call it assignments, right? In the 20s, I made my first, or in the 80s, I made my first $1 million, but I was in my 20s, and I found a property that was worth $220,000. I was buying it for $150,000. I called my old boss because he had money, and I said, "Hey, John, come take a look at this." And in fact, I'll just show it to you because this is where you'll find I'm quite different than other people, and that is let's go over here, and I'm going to show you. So these are all properties I bought in my 20s right here. But this was my first assignment deal right here. This was a hardware store, and I had this tied up for $150,000. I knew it was worth, at least $225, something like that. Got a hold of my boss. He took a look at it. He said, Tommy, he goes, that's a great deal. And I said, great, John, let's buy it. We'll split the money. He goes, I don't want a partner. And I was like, what? He goes, how about I give you $20,000 and I'll buy it by myself? And that was my introduction to wholesaling, was somebody offering me more. I got in between, and this is really what everybody needs to do. This is the game, folks. Get in between what somebody has and what somebody wants. You get it tied up where you can buy it. You'll find the money. You'll find it like I just described, and or you can find a partner, or you might be able to borrow the money. And but these are the kinds of things. And like I say, you pull back. And this is my 20s, right? I bought all these properties, about 80 something, roughly almost 60, I think, right in this area here. The land, commercial buildings, industrial buildings, large acreage. These are the things that you can do. And these are the things that I wish that you guys would demand when you hear somebody like Pace talking, or when you hear somebody like Kris talking. And so let's go back to the iPad for a second. Actually, we'll talk about that. Specifics, right? So we're going to add that. I got average profit per student is something that should, this is the list that you should ask Kris Krohn. These are the things that you should ask me. This is the things that you should ask Pace. Like, why should I be in your class? Why should I pay you $8,000? For what? For what? To learn how to wholesale? I mean, that's not even a skill. It's not even investing, folks. So anyways, but let's go back to 2 here. So we're going to say specifics, sale / profits. Because the vague thing is to say, I did a deal. I did 500 deals. Oh, I've done 1,000 deals. Well, that's bullshit. Number one, I know nobody in their 30s has done 1,000 deals, or it doesn't mean they're good deals, right? It's too vague. I think you want to hear something that relates to you. So anyways, help me add to this list. Somebody add to this list, right? What's number 3? So specifics on sales and profits, the average profit per student. But I think really we're talking about, again, what I headed this with, student success, right? Student success. Not just one student that lives in your hometown, which seems to be the case for at least one of these guys, but let's see real success. Anyways, if you just got here again, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We've got a webinar tonight, 7 p.m. Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. You can see the link there. I'll take you into my website, by the way. And right here, what you can see, and if you can't tell, and actually, I'm going to show you guys tonight. You get in there tonight. I'm going to show you the slow way to make a couple $1 million. Kind of a tried and true slow way. I've actually made money a lot of different ways because I've done a lot of flipping, but at the same time I've done flipping, I've had the benefit of being able to hold. So I've made money, millions of dollars, a number of different ways with all kinds of properties. Apartments, I've made millions. Land, I've made millions. Houses, I've made millions. Industrial buildings, I've made millions. Commercial buildings, I've made millions. Retail type centers. Okay, Liam wrote, I think a better question is, how many of the sub 2 deals, okay, well, this would be a specific question, which I think is fair. So Liam wrote, a better question is, how many of the sub 2 deals have gone to court? Okay. Sub 2 deals. We'll say gone bad. Does that work? Sub 2 deals reversed. And when I say reversed, that's one of the things they talk about. They said you can always undo it, but if you undo it, you unown it. You no longer own it. So good question. Appreciate that, Liam. Anyways, so also, by the way, I've got a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. Be sure to get a copy. You can get that, again, go to Amazon. I'll read it to you if you get an Audible. You can get on Kindle. The Kindle, you can actually link to specific videos that are relevant to the different chapters. But this will be one of the best investments you'll ever make, and probably one of the cheapest investments as well. So, and so again, those of you that you just got here, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. But we're making a list. If you just got here, we are making a list of what should be asked of somebody that claims fake guru, or if you call a guru a real person, whatever. A real estate expert. That's what I consider myself, a real estate investing expert. Got a long portfolio, many, many decades of doing it, and a lot of success to reflect on. So sub 2 deals gone bad and sub 2 deals reversed. You're right, because he does push sub 2 quite a bit. Let's talk about, this is an aside, because much is made about creative financing. And creative financing is really no mystery, just so you understand. Most people, 9 times out of 10, creative financing just means not a bank. Or it means owner carry. I've done tons of owner carry properties. In fact, since we're talking about it, I will show you a few. So actually my very first deal, it's over here. The very first deal I made when I was 19 years old was owner carried. This one right, let me pull this out of the way. I'm going to show this to you on the screen. I'll get rid of the iPad again. Right here, this was an owner-carried deal. And the way I did that, I'll just kind of give it to you. I didn't have any credit because I was 19. I didn't have bad credit. I was just 19. I was just starting, I had worked for somebody for about 2 years. I dropped out of high school, number one. I dropped out of high school, and I bought this building. And I bought it with $10,000 down, but I had a 6-month escrow. That 6-month escrow and having access to the building where I could live in it and I could, use it for my business, but with no payments, that gave me time to save the 10 grand needed to put down. And you'll learn all about this. Basically, I show you how I made my first million in the 80s if you get in the webinar tonight, and then I show you how I've gone on to make tens of millions with big, beautiful properties. But I'll show you another. This is another owner finance property. This one, take a look at this. This is really interesting. This is was Avenue L overpass. I actually own the property that part of this overpass sits on. It was a pain in the ass. I made a lot of money. I could have made more, but I was in my early 20s, and I was getting sued. They took the property from me by eminent domain. Some of my students that have had to deal with that have gotten the luxury of being able to hear from somebody like me that actually knows the process, knows what to do, knows how to defeat it, or to profit, get the most out of it. Let's see. Anything else? Hey, Jermon, glad to see you here, buddy. Anyways, so Jermon, you just got here. We're making a creative list here for of what questions you'd like to ask Pace Morby, what questions you'd like to ask Kris Krohn. I can think of another one right now. Is this is for me. It's for Kris. It's for Pace and anybody. It's for what is your? We'll just say, what is the most profitable deal, or just sale. I'm going to say sale. They kind of ruined deal for me. Sale, most profitable sale they have made. Okay? And I can tell you, I won't spoil it here because maybe maybe one of these guys will take me up on this, and we'll get Spencer. We will get Spencer to officiate and talk about this. But wouldn't you like to know what's the most profitable? Wouldn't you like to know? Hey, show us your top 10. Show us 10. And how about this? This is a good one, right? We'll be a little more specific on this. How many millionaire students? Meaning, how many millionaires that became millionaires in your class? We'll get back to that. But how many millionaires, have they created in that class, right? All right. Anyways, that's about it. So tonight, folks, that's what's going on. I've got the webinar, and like I said, this list that we just created together is just one of the things that you should be asking anybody and everybody. Here we go. And I'll go back to the iPad here. I'm a little bit lost without my son helping me out with some of the technical stuff. But so how many millionaires have come? Because this is actually something that I think you would want to talk about. How many millionaires created in your class/mentorship? Also, another specific, I think, for Kris Krohn is, because he invests a lot of other people's money. I mean, Kris, I don't even think, from what I've seen Kris Krohn, it was easy. When the interest rates were low, he could get somebody to put in whatever, say 25% down on a property, or maybe 50% down to buy a property. And he could pay full retail. But if he's buying it with their money down, then there's a margin. There's enough to pay the rent. You get, and then both sides would get the depreciation, that sort of thing. But did they make any money on day one? I mean, did he buy the properties under market on day one, or was he simply relying on the market, going up? And also, how many people have lost money in his partnerships? How many lawsuits? How about how many lawsuits? Lawsuits. And then we'll get back to, Jermon wrote, my questions would be the following. Have either of you been in a down market? That's a really good one, too. And two, why don't you have student testimonials? Yeah, so we're back to that. Where are the testimonials? So I'll just do that. Where are, sorry, you got to suffer through my writing. Where are the testimonials? That's actually good, because I've seen terrible testimonials, but actually just to say, where are the testimonials? So if you guys just got here, we're making a list, kind of a fake guru question list, or any sales expert list. I'd be happy to take any of these questions. In fact, you can ask me tonight. Go to my webinar tonight, and you can ask these questions. I love showing off the deals that I've made over the last 4 decades. I know that they're inspiring. I remember the excitement. It's wonderful. When I look out here and I see where I made $100,000 right here. This is a property I bought for $30,000, sold it for $165,000. Out here's one I made over $350,000 on. This is his last deal I made in the 80s. I made this deal in 1989, like in November of 89, and I sold it in December. And it's always a good idea, by the way, if you're going to make a big profit, if you're right near the end of the year, just close it. Close it in January, because then you got a little time before, unless you've deferred it into buying something else, which is always a good thing. And you learn about deferring, 1031s and different things. I've done a bunch of them. And then there's also, let's go talk about types, right? Types of real estate. What types of real estate? Right? So I've done apartments, made millions. Industrial, made millions. Commercial strip, strip centers, offices, which I still love offices, but you just got to be careful what kind of offices you get involved with and buy. Don't be afraid of them. Just make sure you just make sure you're doing the right thing. So, I can show you all kinds of stuff. What do you guys want to see? Jermon, those are good questions. I appreciate that. Anybody else? So if you just got here, like I say, we're kind of making a list, a fake guru list, or a list that you should ask anybody that is asking you for money. We're talking about Pace Morby, we're talking about Kris Krohn, we're talking about other people that are selling their expertise or alleged supposed expertise. Some of these guys I just don't think qualify. I don't at all, because taking other people's money and buying assets at full retail is not. I mean, it's an art of a different kind, right? In other words, it's just being good at. That's what they could teach. They could teach people, how to use other people's money. When I've done any of the partnerships, I've only done a handful of partnerships, and and the people that have been involved have done extremely well. One partner of mine, he actually died. He was my partner for 20 years on one property. And his investment of about $100,000 is worth about $2 million now, and now his kids, are my partners because they inherited his. Have I ever bought a house? On leased land? Bought a house and leased the land? If you're talking about it, I can tell you, I'll show you something. If I understand the question, that it says Ricardo wrote, have you ever bought a house leased and not quite, and leased the land, I guess is what he's saying. Yeah, I'll show you a property actually. And people have to understand, land has great value. Let me see. I'll show you a property. Now, I made a couple $1 million on this property, by the way. Let me pull this out of the way. So, this is a property that had a house right. It's changed. Let me tell you, it's changed. Yeah, there used to be a house right about where you see this little blue dot. Now now this is covered with homes. There's now 180 homes. When I bought this was vacant land. In fact, it had been a failed trailer park is what it had been. There actually used to be a set of trailers here. I remember I pulled a fire hydrant out that was abandoned over here. My young boys, my young men now, they're young men. But when they're young kids, they caught their first fish in this creek. I took them fishing, and they caught a fish in this creek right here. But to your point about have I leased land, I leased this. I took a section of land right here right where you see the cursor here that was along the street, and it actually bordered this little what's paved here you see now. And I leased this land to a company that they were building new homes, and what they would do is they would do all the forming for the concrete slabs. And then when they would wreck it, after they pour the concrete and finish the concrete, they come back and they call it wrecking the forms. And that means basically they're pulling the forms off the dried concrete. They'd bring them back to this yard, and I got $1,000 a month. But I've rented other yards as well. So yes, have you ever bought let's see, I meant to say if you bought a house and the land is leased under it. No. You don't own the land if it's leased, right? Now, I can tell you something that kind of borders that experience you're talking about, and I got to go back here to California on that one. Most railroad property, right? Railroad property, they own a lot of property along the railroad tracks, and I'll show you some railroad tracks here. Yeah, I think we're looking at railroad tracks right here. See that? There's the railroad tracks right there. So when you see property like this, oftentimes, if there's a building along the road here, let's say, because they have a pretty wide swath of land. But when you go along these railroad tracks, and just to keep me focused here, or keep you focused, here's the railroad tracks. You'll find buildings. In fact, I missed a very good deal that was basically you can buy the building, but it's on the land is leased. No, I haven't purchased any, but I've almost purchased some. In fact, I was actually looking at a Walgreens in Texas that actually, but I don't even know that Walgreens is going to be around. That one, it made sense. In fact, one of my students actually just bought 12,000 square feet of building on leased land, and it is a deal that is probably going to net him a couple $1 million. Okay, so yeah, it's not impossible. It can make sense to do it, but you have to understand, like in the case that when I was looking at, it had a Walgreens resting on a leasehold property that was owned by, I can't remember who owned it. Maybe it was an oil company. I can't remember. But the problem was my lack of faith in Walgreens, to be quite honest, and I'll explain why I feel that way. I'll show you a property I bought that I sold. I made $1 million on this property too, by the way. I'll show you a property if I can get to it here. I remember it. So this property right here. I bought this property for like $240,000, I think, $240,000. I sold it for $1,725,000. Now this goes to why I'm not crazy about Walgreens and Eckerd's. I got they get massive. There's theft is a huge problem in those stores, and you know how the country's going. You know, you're not allowed to. They didn't want you stopping thieves from walking out the door. So they're dealing with that kind of crap. But the other thing is meds. We all know, if anybody that takes medicine knows, you usually get solicited to have your meds delivered straight to you. I mean, eventually Amazon, I think, is going to have medicine if they don't already. But my point that I'm going to here is it was a pharmaceutical company a pharmaceutical delivery company. They would deliver meds. That's what they do. They just deliver medicine. They bought this building. They bought this building. And then I tapped them on the shoulder. I said, hey, you want some more? And they bought this building right here. So I see Walgreens probably going down the tube someday. And that's why I'm not crazy about buying that Walgreens that was sitting on leased property. So, Ricardo, sorry that's a long answer, but it's good information, I think. So who's going to join me tonight at the webinar? 7 p.m. We'll be talking just like this. You can ask questions, and I want specifics. I want you to ask me all these questions that we've put together, and I want you to ask these questions. Go to a Pace Morby seminar. Go to a Kris Krohn seminar, webinar, whatever. Ask these questions. If they don't answer these questions, why? Why not? Why? Or why can't you? Or why don't you have these experiences? I'm just telling you, it's very, very important. If you don't ask, you don't know. If you trust people, you're going to get burned. It's just eventually it's going to happen, and it can happen in the worst thing. Let me tell you the thing: you trust somebody that you think has experience, and then you take advice from that person. You could just bury yourself for the next 10, 20 years. Believe me, and I got people in my class that they were so jaded after, getting ripped off by, what they called the fake guru, people that you would know the name of, that they went sour, and they lost 7 years. 7 years, they said, I'm done. I ain't even going to touch real estate. And in that 7 years, they could have become a multimillionaire. Believe me, I have students in my class. And by the way, let me just back it up too. These are in my class. I want you to see these guys. These are millionaires. This, multimillionaire here, about a millionaire here, This guy just made his first almost $250,000, almost a millionaire in real estate deals since he's been in the class here. Over $1 million with this gentleman here, and these are, you can click on these. You can, you can see my students. If I don't sit in front of them, you can see my students, and you can see them talk about their success, his income, and you can see the actual properties. This is the stuff you want to see. Real estate immersion setup. You want to see the real estate. You want to see the results of what good mentoring does. You judge a good school by its students. Okay, that's simple. So, anyways, I'll cut it here, man. Thanks for hanging out. And look, get in the webinar tonight. Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. It's real simple here. If you're on the app, you'll see it as well. But right here, above my head, let me get rid of this thing for a second. Right here, go to the webinar. It says webinar here. All you got to do is find my cursor, click on webinar right there. 30 to 60 years, and you can you'll get the link sent to you, and just do it right now. And but ideally, just go to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar, and it'll be sent to you. Also, we'll put a link below so that you can also, in addition, you can, and this is the live webinar. So you want to do the live webinar, don't forget that. And take the mentorship survey. Go right here, go apply for mentorship, fill this out. You do that, I'll look at it, I'll give you a call, we'll talk, or I'll text you. And if you want to talk, fine. If you don't, that's okay too. And we want to see more students' videos. Well, that should be on the list. I agree. More students' videos. I would agree. I mean, nobody has more than me, by the way. Nobody has more than me. I don't even have them all listed on this website, but I've had others on. Let me show you here. But take a look at all these ones that you see right behind me. These are all student videos. Fantastic. This gentleman here, he's up to $5 million in real estate, is what he told us in the last mentorship class. He's got a bunch. I bought your book, enjoying it. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. That's from I Buy Houses. Look, I'm very confident in my success. I've been doing it too long. That you can tell a fake guru because they talk around subjects. They don't want to see questions like this. They don't want to see, let's go over it real quick and then I'll kill it. What's your average profit per student? Can you show us specific sales and profits? How many sub-2 deals have gone bad? How many sub-2 deals have been reversed? What is the most profitable sale that you've made or that your students have made? How many lawsuits are related to your program? Where are the testimonials if you don't have any? Types of real estate that you can show that you or your students have made money. Apartments, industrial, commercial. Those are all ones that I've made money with. So anyways, hey, I look forward to seeing you guys in the class. I've been making friends all over this country, and I enjoy the heck out of it. I don't care about taking your money, but I do enjoy sharing, and I enjoy, hearing what you have to offer and what you have to say, what your concerns are. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the webinar tonight. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face-to-face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.